replicants. Welcome to another episode of Team Hurricane Returns. I am novelist Sean Hamill.
And I am Daryl. Just a guy.
Multi-hyphenate. No. Podcaster, musician, artist.
Soda drinker.
Soda maker.
Enthusiast. I was, yes. I actually found that it was a gift from you, and my wife actually gave me the Soda Stream. I think that was what it was called.
Yep.
My CO2 cartridges ran out, so I was like, I found it in the garage while I was cleaning and hanging drywall, as we were talking about before we went on the air. And I was like, man, I'd like to make some soda again. At least, maybe not soda, but at least I could make like some, carbonate.
LaCroix.
Yeah. And I was like, that's better than drinking like fucking Dr. Pepper, So I was I didn't look, I didn't care enough to go find a place, even though I could just Google that and figure it out. But it's up there cooking.
All you have to do to make LaCroix is like show a glass of water to a Skittle and then add carbonation.
And then go, hey, what do you think that tasted like? And LaCroix goes, let me think.
Yep.
So, sorry, LaCroix, we spilled your secrets. We didn't sign an NDA, okay?
No, we didn't.
We
brought
didn't.
us in to be consultants.
Right, exactly. That wasn't, in fact, I remember taking the NDAs and burning them.
In front of you.
Yeah. So.
And then asking them to make a flavor of that.
What's that taste like, LaCroix?
burnt legal documents.
Yeah.
They didn't go with that idea.
And they actually asked us to leave the building. We set off the smoke alarm and the water system.
Yeah, the sprinklers went off, yeah.
What are you going to do? I thought it was a solid idea,
I thought it was like a baller, like Don Draper kind of move.
I thought they were going to go for it. Turns out Mad Men is bullshit.
I really thought that was your Kodak carousel moment.
But it wasn't. It was not.
That was a work of fiction.
Yeah. It's funny that you talk up, we brought up Mad Men because I don't know if you've noticed this at your place of employment, but at mine, like, there are definitely, like, we're in such a, I don't want to say niche market because it's not, it's a big market, but, like, there are just people in my organization where I'm like, oh, that's our Don Draper, or like, oh, that's our Pete Campbell. And not necessarily like in a characteristic sort of way. Not like that guy cheats on his wife all the time, constantly.
Right.
More like that's our idea man who's going to like land us the deal. And like, that's our guy who's going to take care of the client so that they bring the client in. Like you have your account men, you have your admin. Like it was just, I was watching it kind of at work as it unfolded before me. And I was like, huh, like, that part of it is kind of true when you're working in like a business to business environment. I don't know if yours is a business to business.
Well, I work at a business that deals mainly in like pipeline and valves for like natural gas and water lines. So they do engineer products, but they actually make the product, and we have a sales team that goes out and sells it. So I don't think it's quite a Mad Men situation, but the salesmen or salespeople, I should say, although I think they are all men at my company, are also basically the account managers. So they're kind of, I guess it's the same thing, salesperson, but I guess the idea people would be the engineers creating the products at the top. So our Don Drapers are all Korean engineers.
So basically what I learned about business, I learned not from business school, but from Mad Men. So thank you, Matthew Weiner.
Yeah, it helped you in one way at your current job, but it really fucked us over at LaCroix.
Yeah, it really did because, I guess you got to feel that out, though. And that's maybe like we should have watched, what was that movie, the Salesman movie, with Alec Baldwin and
Glengarry.
Maybe we should have watched Glengarry Glen Ross. In fact, I think we did watch it one time. If you and I didn't watch it, I feel like I did watch it with someone who was like, we should watch this movie because it's a classic movie. And we were like, okay, cool.
I remember we watched Goodfellas for pretty much that reason, and it was such an early DVD that it was a flipper.
It's
You had
flipper.
to turn it over halfway through.
They picked a good point to flip it, I think. I'll give them that. But yeah, it did kind of like, I feel like, I don't remember either. You're right. I was going to try to remember, but that was so long ago.
We watched that entire movie in my tiny bedroom in my
Yeah,
parents' apartment.
because you had a DVD player.
Yeah. I think I sat at my desk and you sat on the bed, and we just watched like 2.5 hours of Goodfellas.
And it was awesome. Goodfellas was great. I'd never seen it before.
Yeah. Well, whenever I sit in front of my big screen TV now, or like even my desktop computer monitor is like 27 inches or something. And I think about like that little 19-inch TV.
Tube TV, like not even a flat screen or anything like that.
No. And just, yeah, I know we've marveled at the advances in monitor technology on this show.
We have.
But I'd like to do so again.
Can we just for a moment thank it one more time, please? Screens everywhere.
If we're going to be hooked on our screens, they might as well be great.
Yeah, they better be good. Yeah, and we've got the technology, so why don't we go ahead and use it?
Exactly.
That's how I feel about it.
I was watching Blade Runner 2049 in 4K before I got hopped on the video conference with you.
And that's how you came up with the intro tonight. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's very topical to whatever movie you're watching, and it's a good character trait. I like it.
You know, it's interesting, and in the last few weeks, I've watched more movies than I have probably in months. And they're all movies that I've basically seen before or are somehow associated with a series that I've seen before, like all the Aliens, all the Predators. Now I'm doing the Blade Runner stuff.
Tron next.
What?
Tron next. Yeah.
Actually, I was going to do the Terminators next because I haven't seen that newest one that's actually supposed to be pretty good. So
I haven't. I don't think I've seen the last two. Maybe I'll do that one too because I love T2.
Me too.
Still to this day.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but I watched it right before the Christian Bale one came out, which ugh. But
which on the surface was like, how could they fuck this up? Oh, that's how.
Oh, there you go.
But you know, to be fair, I've seen that one again since we saw it because I think we saw that in theaters because we were fucking pumped about it.
You and I, I think. Yeah, Becca was with us, and my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time, but
we were stoked though. We were like super excited. We were like, "This looks fucking awesome! Batman's here! Fucking, it's gonna be great!
Yeah,
this is what we've been waiting for." And then we were like, "Oh no, that wasn't it."
Yeah, it turns out what made the Terminator great was not the future war, or maybe it could have been, but like. I don't remember much about that movie. You said you've rewatched it. Do you like it better now?
I just feel like but I was about to say yeah, but then I remembered I couldn't remember it again. Like, so clearly it wasn't like, I was like, this thing happened maybe. I don't know. That doesn't seem like it actually happened now, so I'm not going to say it. So no, I guess it wasn't.
Jumping out of like an airplane or a helicopter into the ocean because there was a human resistance base underwater. No, there's a submarine or something that he gets into, and that's part of how you know he's a badass. You know, Sam Worthington was in that movie too.
He was. That was
during the couple of years when he was a movie star.
Yeah, like, and they were like, "Hey, man, do you want to be in this really epic movie?" And he's like, "Yes, it will fail." Because he didn't do very well. He was great. I think he's fine. Like, I don't think that he's like bad or like a super bad actor or anything like that. Those movies weren't great.
Avatar, he was the lead in Avatar.
That's probably what shot him to the top. They were like, "Look at this guy."
I think actually those both came out the same year, just 6 months apart. But I think the Avatar job might have gotten him the Terminator job because they were like, "Oh, he's working with James Cameron. You know, let's get him."
He's gonna have that shine on him, and then they were like,
Did you see the Terminator with Daenerys from Game of Thrones?
I did not.
I saw that one too, and I remember thinking it was okay while I was watching it, but I couldn't tell you a damn thing about it.
See, same thing. Yeah. I think I'll try to do that too, because I'll try to hunt them down, because I think that would be fun too.
Yeah, they're good summertime movies.
Yeah, yeah. I always associate Terminator 2 with the summer, because I think I know that I had my grandma rented. I don't know why my grandma rented this for me. I was like fucking 9 or 10 when this movie came out, and I was just like, Grandma, you gotta rent me Terminator 2, and I watched the shit out of it every time we would I'd go to our house in rural Texas. Like, we'd go to the little video store and get the movie, and I'd come back and just watch it, and I'd be like jacked as shit, and I was like, I don't know why she was like, let me watch it. Look, that's terrible, but hey, thanks, man, it was fun. I fucking loved it. Look at me now.
Well, you know what's interesting about that movie is it's rated R, but I mean, there's a lot of gunplay in it, but I don't remember, aside from the scene with Miles Dyson dying, there being a whole lot of blood in it, actually.
I mean, there's some the T-1000 does cut people quite a bit.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and
he also punctures people quite a bit.
That's a good point. I forgot about.
But it's not graphic all the time. It's actually kind of scientific, and he just right through your eyeball, because that's exactly what he would do.
Did you see 2 before you saw 1? I feel like a lot of people our age did.
No, I think that I had seen the first one. Again, I was talking to my wife about this today. I was like, what were my parents doing, man? That I was watching Terminator and maybe they were just like, man, this movie's fucking awesome. I bet the kid loves it. And I appreciate it, but
right.
And I don't think that those movies are necessary. I don't know. Maybe they were age inappropriate, but yes, I think I had seen Terminator before I saw Terminator 2. So I remember being like, but wait, that's the bad guy. I remember having the exact same reaction, and probably as a lot of people in the theater, right? Being like,
right.
No. So yeah. And then I was hooked.
I remember, okay, so I only saw Terminator 2 when I did because I had friends and their parents let them watch it, so I would see it at their house. So I caught bits and pieces, and then I finally saw the whole thing, and then I pretended to my parents I hadn't seen it and asked if we could rent it, and they were like, oh, you're not ready for that one, buddy. And I was like, bullshit.
Yeah, right.
And then years later, I caught the first Terminator on cable. I was a teenager by then, and I was like, holy shit, this movie's awesome. It's so much smaller, but it
is
perfect in its own way.
And it does. I think I hadn't really thought about it that way. It does feel a lot smaller. It feels very much more localized, and it doesn't feel as grand as T2 does when it's with its cross America, or at least at
cross
least hundreds.
Country. I think
Mexico. Yeah, exactly. So you don't think that you're right. Small to big, and then obviously much bigger after that with all the T3s and T12s and T whatevers.
Well, and they seem to, I haven't, not from the newest one, but from the 3 and 4, they seem to take the wrong lessons. Instead of taking the lesson of the first movie, which is you can do a lot with very little if you're clever. And they're just like, more.
No, go bigger. And it feels like that was the direction that filmmakers kept getting. No, bigger. And in some ways, that's because I guess what Marvel's bigger in most cases, and it works. Yeah. But in Star Wars, you could argue was bigger, and it worked-ish.
I mean, financially, yes.
Financially, yes, and I even think with what they're going to do with Disney Plus, it'll probably work too. I feel like Disney Plus is where we're going to see some good Star Wars stuff. Not movies.
Well, the nice thing about The Mandalorian is that it went small.
Yeah. Yes. And
people love that show way more than they loved Rise of Skywalker. People still talk about Baby Yoda. Nobody's talking about Rey and Finn anymore, I don't think, unfortunately.
No. I mean, I watched it again when I was hanging drywall. That's my